Hi, Lori Scherer with the Scherer team and my partner.
Dan Karp with the Karp Group.
And we're here to talk to you about two things today. One is recently I've had a situation where we were under contract, and prior to the end of the inspection period of the contract, the buyer actually canceled. They hadn't even done an inspection yet. So my seller was a little bit confused about that, even though I prepared them in advance that this is a possibility that may happen. And a lot of times there's so much information that's shared with our sellers and our clients that they just can't absorb everything at once. And so I just wanted to go over the concept of what an inspection period really is and how it affects the contract and the client. In our contracts, most of our contracts do come with several different things: sale price, closing date, deposits, and an inspection period, among other things. And the inspection period, the way the majority of our as-is contracts are written up, is a window of opportunity where the buyer, in the buyer's sole discretion, can actually change their mind about their decision to move forward with the purchase. They do not have to have any specific reason at all as to why they're changing their mind. And unfortunately, in these as-is contracts, it is a potential end result that could happen, which leaves sellers very frustrated and very disappointed. So there are ways that we can avoid this situation. One is to either go with a traditional full condition offer, where the seller would be responsible for potentially a very large amount of money to make all repairs that are found on a report. We don't always advise that. Another is to do a pre-inspection just so that we can sort of head off major repairs that they are unaware of. And the other is to build in a credit with the inspection to sort of offset any potential major repairs that may be necessary. So there are some ways to kind of work that, but these are things that do happen, and we're here to talk it through so that we can avoid those pitfalls.
Yeah, and I'll share one other scenario, but you talk about all the information that sellers receive, and it could be overwhelming. I think where Lori really thrives is setting expectations along the way with each benchmark. Hey, here's what's going to happen next, here's what you can expect. And sometimes it's not always the best outcome, but it's setting the expectation right. Hey, this was found in the inspection. We're going to do our best to hold this together. Here's what we need to do. So just being realistic with that, I think, is important, and knowing that the communication is there in a proactive manner, because it is overwhelming to go through that every step of the way. You know, one of the other things that we can do is, as we go and we list a property or sell a property, traditionally, like Lori said, we could put it on the market, and we're going to be subject to the terms that are traditional: purchase price, escrows amount, closing date, financing terms, cash or financing, and inspection period. If there's a circumstance where somebody needs to sell faster, we want to be conscious of the circumstances, but also not say, just dump it, right? We don't want to just say, let it go at this price. We want to say, look, we can be a bit more aggressive. We may have to lower our price a bit, but we can have somebody, whether it's an investor or it's an end user, who we know is going to pay cash. Maybe you have a 0-day inspection, so there's no backing out of the contract. You have your escrow deposit in place. There's ways that we can set up before you go to market, and we find the right investor or the right client or the end user to make sure that we have the right terms in place for you, so that if you do need to move quickly, if you do need to sell quickly, for whatever circumstances, you have a foolproof contract that somebody's there, it's a cash deal, you're closing in less than 30 days, and the terms are really attractive to the seller, and it works for the buyer because maybe they're getting 3%, 5% lower than what you get on the market, but you don't have to deal with a headache, you don't have to carry the house anymore, no more HOA, tax and insurance. So there's ways to go through it. I think understanding the needs of the seller lets us advise how best to approach it with the right type of buyer.
Time is money.
Time is money.
So thanks for listening. If there are some topics that you would like us to address for you, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. Have an awesome day.